Not fair. Not fair. Don't rub it in.
I am fabulous. I'm recovering from all the shenanigans from the finale and all the layover or the delays at the airport. But yeah, I'm doing really great. Although I am sad that the season is over, you know. Now what am I gonna do on Wednesday
Yeah.
nights?
You can probably tell from our voices too. We are recovering from the shenanigans at the party. Like we partied it up in Brooklyn.
Yes, you did.
My mic. Hey there, what do you say there, world? There you go. I thought I was going to be echoing, so I turned my mic off. There we go. Anyway, they can hear you guys, so they didn't hear any of my junk. They don't care. They don't care about what I got to say. It's just a hey there, hey there, and a what do you say there? What are we talking about? We got Jack and Carson. Obviously, our voices are jacked from the 2-day finale party, and I'm sure they had parties the day after as well with friends and family and their personal moments. I hosted a karaoke party with Alyssa and Josiah. We were the judges.
Was that awesome?
Oh my god, they are such great. I love them so much.
They are the best people ever.
I just want to adopt them. I want them to be around my circle.
Don't have to adopt me.
And I just
Talking about
I want some of that osmosis, just their greatness to just like permeate my skin.
So true.
Like
So true.
They are incredible. They had a great time. I was Simon, obviously. We had a Paula and a Randy. Josiah loved everybody. So you know he was good.
Of course he did.
We had nothing. Even when there was terrible players, terrible singers, he would find something great to talk about because that's just who he is.
Yeah,
who cares about that? When we're here, we got a double episode finale, the first time ever, back-to-back episodes, and we got a winning streak going into the finale. Jack and Carson, when you guys got to this point in the leg, is this when you started to believe you can win? Did you always believe you can win? How were you feeling along this race? Was there a point when it clicked?
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. I mean, when you make it to the final three, I mean, okay, let's just be really clear. From final five kind of on, like, we were scared of kind of everyone, like, but then when Mark and Brett went home, we were like, oh yeah, like, best day ever, because they were a huge threat.
even though we love them.
Yeah, oh my god, well, like, we talk to them all the time, and we tell each other, and same with Listener Josiah, it's like, we wanted you dead, straight up. Like, hope you choke, when Alyssa was like, unless I break a leg, and I won't use the express pass unless I break a leg, and fall over, and choke, and whatever, I'm like, we wish that would have happened. But, ultimately, it kind of did happen to Brett and Mark, and then Alyssa and Josiah, who I think we considered two of our top two threats. And so after that, I think we were feeling like we could really do this. Like the people we're scared most of are gone.
Yeah. It was definitely becoming more real, but we always believed that we could do it. It just was part of our strategy was really meant. I mean, our whole game was mental more than it was like we knew we weren't gonna out physicalize Pops and Jeff out, like these huge. I mean, Nick and Mike, right? Our game had to be mental. And for us, it was about balancing, knowing that we could do this, but also not letting that, knowing that we could also go home at any time.
Yeah.
And that is also part of the game. So balancing that, it became more real. It became like, oh no, there's a high probability, like now it's 1 out of 3 that we could win this thing. But of course, the whole time we did believe in ourselves. Like,
yeah, and I think we got really
the first leg, so obviously you started.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we got extremely lucky. That's what I was taking from. Like, literally from day one, after we won the first leg, I was like, okay, if we can beat 13 other teams, we can beat 2, And so that, I think, gave us a little bit of, like, pep in our step. And then also, interestingly, like, after Bulgaria, our major flop, like, I actually think that even convinced us more that we could win. Because it was like, even when you're sure and certain that you're out, and then you don't get out, suddenly you're like, okay, well then can anything stop me? And like obviously the answer is yes. And like
obviously the
you
answer
know,
is no, because nothing
Yeah.
could stop you guys. You guys didn't
No,
do
but
perfect,
you
and you
know, like,
still wound up winning.
but well, yes, but it gave us more of like, okay, never count yourself out.
Yeah.
Like, especially in the finale, like if you are not in first the whole way, like it's okay.
Yeah.
Just keep one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your mental game was so strong, and I actually had you guys and Mark and Brett going into the finale because you guys didn't get rattled, neither of your teams, and we saw we saw really Alyssa kind of get shaken and doubting herself. We saw
Yeah.
obviously Jonathan and Anna get frustrated and not communicate well, and we saw Han and Holden through the whole season, I think, have major race brain and like franticness. And
Yeah.
so it was just obvious. I think, it was a crapshoot who was going to be that third team in my mind, because I thought you guys and Mark and Brett really just stayed calm, cool, collected, and cute, as Quentin would say.
Thank you.
throughout. And that's
Yeah.
huge because, and Justin, having been a racer, you get in your head. It happened to Lori and Scott, right? It's probably the reason they went home. They got flustered. They couldn't stay in the game. And it ended up with them leaving a little bit too soon, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to give a shout out to all the racers in the chat. Obviously, you could tell how loved you are because we got a lot of racers in the chat. We got Will and James are in the chat. Scott's in the chat. We have Louis Cologne is in the chat, still editing videos from your party. And there's a lot of people asking questions in the chat. We will get to them. I mean, we can't answer every question. Like, which one of you said it was Dolphins Stadium? I mean, who cares? Does it really matter at that point? Like, come on. That's what you're going to waste questions on? No, but obviously I appreciate everybody in chat. I love you guys supporting the show all season. But what we're here for is to break it down with the champs themselves, because they did something that I couldn't do no matter how good I was along the race. But I want to like piggyback off something you said. When we fell back by an hour by going for the fast forward in the first leg, I was crying like a baby. You saw that. I was like, my super fan dream is done. It's an hour. It was 30 minutes to get to the place, 30 minutes to get back, and then we hit traffic. I'm like, there's no freaking way there's anybody here. Then we saw people there, and it was over. That was it. That's when I believed it doesn't matter. There's nobody that can knock us out of this race. If we can fall back by an hour and still beat three teams, nobody's going to beat us. It took Diana like 4 legs, and then when she started to believe, we won 5 in a row. Literally, when Diana said, we can win this race, that's when we won 5 in a row. So I think believing that you guys can win is a big mental boost that gives you an advantage over the other teams.
Well, you know what? Believing in a lot of different ways. We talked a lot about our strategy of like using D&D, right? You start to like get into these characters. You start to be like, okay, when I think about what I want to be like, how does that physicalize into my body, right? When I think about a character I want to be like, who is a ranger, who's accurate, how does that make me accurate actually in my body? They say like, if you're a basketball player, like imagine yourself getting, doing it.
Visualize it.
Yeah. And it does like affect the body, but we've been talking about that with people in terms of, a lot of people have been talking about our social game, and one of the things we talked about was, we did use like these things where it's like we were last to the ATVs, and this is a good opportunity for us, even though it sucks to be last on that plane. It's a good opportunity for us to lighten our threat level, right, with everybody. But the thing is that you also need to believe those things. They need to be true things that you're believing about yourself also. Like, you need to use, like, we are weaker. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't just say that we're weaker. Like, we have to actually use things that we actually think about ourselves. Like, we are weaker than Pops and Jeff, right?
This season
like,
had some of the most this season had some of the most athletic people of all time. Like, the most jacked team, like, people.
Totally.
Josiah, like, do triathlons. We were like, are you kidding?
Yeah, Han's a college swimmer. One was, Alyssa was a college soccer player. Josiah wrestled. You got freaking Cirque du Soleil dude climbing up walls with just his hands, didn't even use his feet. Like, and forget Pops and Jeff. I mean, Pops is probably the oldest dude on the race, but he's jacked. He's literally shredded, not an ounce of body fat. Like, even Jonathan, everybody was jacked.
Yes, well, and also in the social relationships, right? Like, you can't just, like, we were using what we actually really like about these people. Do you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, okay, we need to become friends with these people because it's going to help us. It's like, it will help us, but it will help us because I actually really, really am curious about these people. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it was funny. We had to access exactly what we knew to be true about our weaknesses, what we knew to be true about our strengths, and what we knew to be true about what we actually do and do not like about the people around us.
Yeah.
You know, like,
I also think like it's easier to believe in yourself when you've seen, like, the reason we kept talking about Frodo and Sam is because we've seen that story, right? Where these like 2 small hobbits, or really 4 small hobbits, like go up against the world, the forces, the evil forces of the world, and like, you know, no one thinks they can do it, and yet they pull it off. And like, of course that's silly because it's not real, and like it's a written story, but like to be able to place yourself in a story where you know, these unlikely heroes that you love remind you of yourself, or you can place yourself in them, like it really gives you the confidence of like, you know what, they had a way bigger quest than we did, and so like at least we can do this.
But that's a great reference, but you took away not the best part of that reference. Frodo, them two, the thing that made them so special is their undying loyalty to each other. Their friendship to each other is what pushed them to succeed at this impossible task. And I think you guys really mirrored that like perfectly. Did you guys get into any sort of like riffs at all during this race? They didn't show any sort of animosity or nothing at all.
No animosity. I think the worst was like one time when we were lost, Carson just goes, Jack! And I was like, and I was just like, dude, do not like make me, do not blame this all on me.
No. But, well, I think I talked to you about this, but and I know we probably, I don't know, whatever. But we went to therapy before going on the race, which is like a unique thing for friends to do, but I think it was like the best thing that we could have done for the race, just because doing that right before positioned us to know that no matter what happens, how we respond to each other isn't against each other necessarily. You know,
we're on each other's.
So then it doesn't build, because it can build on itself, right? Like you're like, I need him to act or be or speak a certain way to help me. It's like I can't. We have to trust that how they're speaking is in service of the same goal, you know.
When you say it, it just makes total sense. Duh. Everybody should go to some sort of a therapy, a couples therapy, to have a third party, see how you guys each talk to each other, how you react to each other. Like that would have helped me and Diana greatly, because we could just look at each other and it'll spark an argument just because of the way I looked at her. And if you saw that on Amsterdam, I mean in Rotterdam, I turned around and looked at her and she said, "What is the face for?" and just started an argument. It's like that thing, it could just spark. So I think that is, put that down in the handbook, racers, for all of the tips that we put on this race. Therapy, couples therapy is absolutely an incredible tool to have in your toolbox. What are some of the other things that you guys did to prepare? Because some of the stuff that like Alyssa and Josiah did to prepare came up. Like they went and took archery classes and they had an archery challenge. Like I went and did a firefighter challenge for mine, and we wound up having a firefighter challenge in the finale. Like what are some of the things you guys did to prepare?
Yeah, so funnily enough, us getting lost, like we actually did do these orienteering courses where we like learned how to read a map, how to find things in a forest, pretty much using like a compass. And so we did stuff like that. There was a big park in New York that has like multiple orienteering courses, which is cool. Although clearly that didn't help very much.
But I think on our feet we were great. You know, like
like not in the car.
In the car. But did you get to practice driving and living in the city?
Well, the hard thing is that we do have some friends around here who have cars, and so we would drive to these orienteering courses, and we actually flew into, for our final callbacks, we flew into San Diego, which is where we're from, and then drove all the way up to LA without using GPS. Granted, that's not a hard drive.
No, we've done that like 100 of
But
times.
even like the address, we had these maps and stuff like that. But of course, we really couldn't get our hands on a stick shift car in time, and so
Wow.
a lot of times I was the one driving, and I'm the only one who knows stick shift. So
you guys
Only
didn't
one time
practice
we
stick?
tried, but that was when we fell
You
apart.
didn't
Right.
practice stick.
What?
You didn't practice stick. You just happened to know it.
well, I drove in high school. The only car I've ever owned is a 1969 VW bus.
A bus.
If you can believe. Yes.
Classic.
So I drove that every day to high school. So it's like, it really, really is like second nature to me. I like, because I learned on that, it's like,
Yeah.
it's so second nature to me to drive stick. But
Yeah, so I think even also like if I had learned, like surely you would have taken that spot
I would have done
anyway
it
because
anyway.
it's like you're so good at it.
yeah.
But yeah, really, what else did we do? We
Well, we
ran a little, but like we could not keep up. Frank, like we can sprint really fast, but like we cannot keep up with like distance running, and so we were just like, okay, we're gonna like run a couple, a little bit before this starts, but like that was not like our strong thing. And then we listened to your podcast. We did the one bag,
Definitely.
which I think really helped.
I was going to ask about the one bag and see if that's where you got it from or if you got it from somewhere else. But I love, and I do this show for super fans. I don't do this for the likes. Otherwise, I do a wholly different show. Don't do it for the views because I would do a totally different show. I do more like Croqueta Chat, which is a fun, anybody could just pop it on. Even if you didn't see the episode, it's still fun to watch. Mine is like, what is this guy with stats and times and shut up already? But the super fans love that. And for people who want to be racers, I give every little gem that I possibly could to help future racers. So to know that I helped you in any way,
definitely
tickles
did.
my heart and makes me want to continue to do this. Like I love that.
And if I can even contribute to that more, to like your whole point about the one bag, like do the one bag and then like bring a quarter of what you think you should bring. Like we brought almost nothing and we threw away almost all of it. Like you really don't need like hardly anything. But so thank you for that. We definitely listened to your show.
Yeah. It's so cool.
We also shaded all the flags. We also had a big wall in my living room, actually just next to here, of all these post-it notes of all these languages, and then like these like
sayings we might need to know.
Yeah, the sayings we might
like left, right, where is.
Yeah, and so then we memorized that whole chart, and then of course you're not allowed to bring any notes. So then we said we don't need to necessarily memorize it. We just need to memorize it enough so that when our notebook is blank, when we check in, by memory, we can then write it down by memory once they've checked all of our stuff.
That is exactly what Diana and I did. We had our notes. We were studying the notes, and I'm like, when are you going to take it away? We were like cramming like everything that we had. And as soon as they took it away, and then we got our blank book, and we were like filling in as much as we can remember. So we had all of our notes again. So that is an awesome, that's an awesome way to do it.
Yeah. It didn't help. I mean, I did. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to just ask a quick question for people who are preparing for the race to answer, or to hear the answer to. So I hear a lot that people study flags, like try to memorize flags. But usually, and Justin, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but usually the flags that you're tested on are flags that you've seen. So I often wonder, I'm like, how much energy should be spent on
pre-race? Not much.
Yeah.
You should know.
We kind of knew it was not for any really help. I think we were just viewing it as like a good memory exercise of like trying to get in the habit of like memorizing things visually and through voice. And it's something that like might come up. So I completely agree. It's like not really something you need to do, but like it did also, I think, just get our minds in the zone as well of like, we're about to be traveling around the world.
Knowing which countries are in Europe could have helped. Listen,
that's true. I also do wonder too, like maybe for future racers, like I'm thinking back to us studying the flags together, and I think a key thing is that we did most of these activities, like the flags we could have studied separately, but instead we made it this activity where we like put on this video, and it was like this fun game for us.
Right.
And maybe that's an easy way to like tap into the energy that I think the mental place that that helped us during the race, which was that we knew what it was like to have a challenge in front of us and to be like giggling and laughing and taking it really serious and trying to do as best as we can.
Yeah.
And being really competitive and being like, oh shoot, I didn't do it, but still maintaining a good attitude.
Yeah.
I feel like if we studied separately, or if it was more of a strictly serious endeavor, we wouldn't have been able to bring that sort of other element of keeping it light onto the race.
Yeah, I talk about this. I mean, we've been doing a lot of thinking, obviously, because we've been doing a lot of like press or whatever. But one thing that like we keep thinking about is like how, and it always for us comes back to D&D, but like how in D&D, like taking it really silly is taking it very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's how we wanted to approach the race, was like as silly as we can get, pretty much will keep us like at our best, and it is us taking it really seriously. Like I think some people view our journey on there as like, how can they possibly be even like thinking this way when they're so far behind, or when they know they're not good at these things that they're doing, or things like that. And it's like, because that's us like honoring our competitive spirit is by like being stupid and silly.
Win, and we know we will win if we are positive.
If our minds are right, like if it's not clouded by the pressure.
Yeah,
that's really cool. All right, before we get into the episodes, is there anything that you brought on the race that helped you? Anything that you packed that you might have used that maybe future races would want?
I know, Justin, you're not gonna like this maybe, but I brought this tiny little book of philosophy. That was I think I've heard you say before, like, don't bring books or whatever, but this was like, I swear it was only this.
I have it.
And it's like it's this book that I read in college called A Manual for Living by the philosopher Epictetus, who's a Stoic. And it just, like, I don't know, I think when you're I honestly found that the most stressful times of the race sometimes was just when you're waiting in your hotel room.
Yeah.
And you're thinking about, like, fuck, I shouldn't have done X, or what are we doing next, or blah, blah, blah. And there's so many just, like, little tidbits. Like, for instance, like, this is one whole chapter, like this. And, like, this one is about, everything happens for a good reason. And it's just like, regular knowledge that like you say, but like to hear it from an actual philosopher who puts it in a way that like is very touching, helped me a lot sometimes when I got really stressed, and actually helped us also strategically bond with Nick and Mike, who also are Stoics.
Epictetus girls.
Yes, like we both were talking about this, and then I think actually helped them not want to like vote us at the U-turn. Like we connected over this. So
well, that's so cool.
Yeah.
It's cool that they let you take it. I mean, it has like written words in it. Normally they'll like take that away.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did look through it, and they made sure it had nothing, like it
Nothing
wasn't
race related.
Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
But,
yeah, something that can get your mind right, whatever it is. I know, like for me, I had this little bandana that I always wore on my wrist, and I know it's stupid. We all get bandanas, but anytime I got like stressed, you can kind of see me picking at it or something like that. It's part of like this mental thing that I know. I found out a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like Jonathan did after the show. I went to therapy and I found out a lot of things. I'm not really comfortable talking about a lot of it like he is, so that's why I give him a lot of props for putting that out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of like little things about myself that I learned on the race. Did you guys learn anything about yourselves on the race? I mean, you guys seem like you really know who you are, and you went through that early in life because of being LGBTQ and having to figure out who you were at a certain point. Did the race teach you anything about yourself?
I think, I mean, I think it's funny. Like, I think this is going to sound maybe weird, but like the person who thinks they know themselves doesn't really know themselves. Like I kind of feel like, okay, like I know myself a little right now, but like, you know, I'm always changing. And I think that was part of what the race showed me was not to actually think much about myself in terms of like really believing certain things in myself, because I often believe in like, okay, I'm not, you know, great at dancing. I'm not, you know, good at with my body. I'm not blah blah blah. And then but like doing things on the race I think teaches you like, or is that just something I'm telling myself? Like
Right,
is that just a
exactly.
belief that I have sort of based on nothing, because I'm comparing myself
Yeah.
frankly to Carson, who's like a trained dancer and really good at things, and ultimately like he's just a great dancer. I'm not actually a bad dancer. He's just trained,
Right.
but I also have like other skills. And so I think I was taught by the race like that, and then by extension on a more like heady and like sort of deeper level that like everyone can be the hero, and like we all have heroism within ourselves. And even if you don't think that like you look like the standard hero, like no one looks like a hero until you are the hero, until you believe you're the hero, and until you take that step. And so I think
Yeah.
that was something for me to remember was like, you know, I can I can do anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally.
If it makes you feel any better, I've met Bruce Willis, and you have pretty similar like body types, body structure, same height as Bruce Willis, and that dude's a badass action star. And like I think you're
Wow.
taller than Tom Cruise as well. So I mean, like these are
Yeah.
action stars who we see on the screen doing incredible things. So don't
Yeah.
limit yourself by what your body looks like. Like Liam Neeson does not look like he can kick somebody's ass. He's just really tall, but what he kicks people's ass, right? You know. So
Yeah.
it's not about.
Well, you know what I was
Yeah.
thinking?
Yeah.
What I was thinking too, which was like, I'm sorry, I know we're talking so much. There's so many things in our mind, but
This is what the show is for.
I-
They don't care about the recap
True.
of these episodes. They want to hear what you have to say.
well, an interesting thing too is because I completely agree with everything Jack was saying in terms of like us in the race as well, and learning about ourselves as in terms of skill sets. Like that's a really interesting thing to learn about yourself. But also, what I find that is like the first thing that comes to mind whenever I like think about new discoveries with the race, it's actually about the people and about how all of us, it didn't necessarily help in the race, or maybe it did help our social game, but all of us are from vastly different experiences and vastly different places. And yet there's something that threads, I feel like, everybody who is somebody who would go on the Amazing Race,
Mhm.
that it is so easy to find myself in those people, like as different as we are. And I think that that was potentially something that was helpful on the race as well, because it was so easy to connect with people. But also, just after the race, I think I've just learned, like, wow, these parts of myself that I feel like have been, that are intrinsically tied with my identity as like like a young, like creative in Brooklyn, queer, you know, actually there's a through line, there's something there that actually also applies
To Melinda.
to a lumberjack father in St. Louis. to like there's so many different people, and spending so much time, and also meeting people from other seasons. It just, I think I learned in a really beautiful way that I connect with people
More deeply.
than I've been in this sort of like kind of crazy like artist Brooklyn queer bubble, and
Yes.
that's not the only place to find parts of myself, you know.
Scott says it perfectly. There's far more that connects us than divides us in chat. Like, and it is totally true. And I love, and I know I say this a lot, but it's the truth. I love this family, this Amazing Race family. There is something that binds all of us, not just the experience, but it's like this passion for wanting to prove to yourself, prove to the world you're worth it by using these little things. And I love that you guys are underdogs in the beginning, and you proved it to the world that friends who believe in each other can overcome anything together.
We all get a virtual hug.
Yeah, I mean, that's really sweet, and I'm so glad that that came off as well, because yeah, we were just having the best time ever. Like, it really is a gift. It's like a
Yeah.
gift in so many ways, not to just do the traveling, but to meet all these people and have this extremely unique experience that we get to share with the world, with our people from our season. But then, yeah, to also like, and it's between all of us three as well. Like, we'll never quite know exactly what we each went through on our race, but we now sort of get it. And it's this
Yeah.
really like beautiful, strange gray area where we have this understanding, but also have this curiosity where we want to lean in and just like learn about each other more. And yeah, I mean, so humbled to have done it at all. And like, genuinely, like, we were like, if we go out first, it'll be the most fantastic. We'll throw a fantastic premiere party. Like, you know, like, I think that's the thing is like, as long as you take it for what it is, which is a gift, like, you're gonna have fun.
So,
And I'm glad that showed.
so a fan asked me at the finale party who my favorite winners were. And I told them, because at the time you had not yet won, I said it was Colin and Christy. When they came back and won, he was completely transformed. Their relationship was transformed. They were communicating. They were very authentically them when they won. And I think they really deserved it. And, you guys are now my new favorite winners of
Aw.
all the seasons. And I think there's a common thread there,
Yeah.
like that
Literally
authenticity, that openness. And I mean, you guys are just super inspiring. Your whole cast was inspiring. I mean, Jackie and Lauren, one episode, like they had such an impact in that one episode on people that were watching. But yeah, you guys definitely stand out, and you deserved every ounce of that win. So yeah,
Wow, I'm like literally getting. We've been crying for like
Oh my
48
God.
hours straight,
Yeah.
but like, like hearing things like that from you guys, like from like people who we've like looked up to so much, and wanting to do this thing like you guys, it's like it's just so. Thank you for that.
Yeah, like I know I've been talking about like us as heroes, but like I hope you also feel like you are heroes to us. Like,
No.
I'm not kidding you. Like, we watched your seasons, and that is what inspired us to want to go on, and also to act like you guys and emulate the things that like you have in many ways taught us through the TV. It's like a very strange full circle thing to be here talking with you guys and to have met you in real life. And yeah, it's just
Wow. That's so cool.
Well, I'm glad you didn't emulate our second place, because let's be real,
Yeah, we're team second place here. You did not want to
Yeah,
emulate
we're
that
not winners.
part.
Well, but that's the crazy thing is that like to me that like the placement and yeah, the placement has nothing to do with sort of what you learn from every team. Like you really soak in these things that you're like, that is, I connect with that. I know how to access that in myself, and that is useful for them, or like that wouldn't be useful for me, or like
yeah.
yeah.
And I don't know if you guys, I'd be curious to ask you guys actually a question, because I was just thinking about the placement being a whole thing, especially in the final leg.
Yeah.
And it almost felt like on our season, without making it feel like it was losing the competition or like losing competitiveness, because it was incredibly competitive.
Oh my God.
But like by the final leg, it almost seemed like everyone had made peace with like, at least we are getting to do the whole race. And like, what an absolute gift. And like, if we win, that'll be amazing. But like, there was almost this like acceptance and gratitude and like respect for each other, I think, of like, no matter what happens, like, we are all so happy to have like done this. And in some ways it almost felt like the least pressure of any leg to me.
Yeah,
which
and
is so strange.
That might have to do with the fact that we like stopped down for a while in the middle of that leg as well, and just had to like, we were forced to just reflect
for 2 days.
I think you really can see it
because of the storm in Miami.
It was 2 days. Why did I think it was 2 hours? It was 2 days for that storm?
It was days.
It was at least one night, maybe two. I can't remember.
It was like no one in or out of Miami. Miami is flooded.
Yeah.
Michelle showed me some videos because they live down there. I knew it was flooded, but I didn't realize it was that flooded.
Wow.
That was weird.
That's
Yes.
insane. All right, let's burn through this. And if you think of anything else you want to throw out there, let's do that. All right, so we're starting off with episode 11. Episode 11. This is a pretty interesting leg. When we start off, we got a long drive. It's 59 miles, an hour and 20-minute drive. The next part of it is a 69 miles, an hour and 28-minute drive. And then another 28-minute drive. It's like normally you get like 5, 10, 15-minute drives, but these seem pretty intense, and it happened to come into play at the end. So a total on this leg was 3 hours and 39 minutes is the fastest you could have possibly done this leg if you drove from A to B perfectly and did the tasks in minutes. That's not counting how long the tasks could have taken. The river, which people wanted to know, is 600 feet across. Go ahead.
And that's actually, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
They cut out an entire
whole challenge.
So,
Get
so
to it.
that it was the first thing that we did. Actually, was like we actually met Ferdinand Magellan in this big costume, and then we like had to
At his house. It was at like Magellan's house.
Magellan's
Yeah.
house, and then we had to like track his.
He would say, so you would speak, you would just listen, you couldn't write anything down, and Magellan would stand there and tell you the route that he took
Okay.
around the world, where he stopped on the, around the world, and then you would run over, and there was this big map that had like a bunch of places, many of which like he never visited or whatever, and then you had this string that you had to tie to each place, so it like was his route using a string.
Well, that's cool.
It was like a memory challenge.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
I totally get why they cut it out, because I think nothing changed in that, and there was so much that happened later, like so much like to zoom in on later,
Yeah.
that I think they were just like. But it was still a long drive. That Magellan's house was not far from where we went for the barrels. I didn't think so. We sort of long
Yeah,
drive out.
I think it was far. Yeah.
Oh, okay, never mind.
They gave us a map, remember? Oh yeah, and then Magellan gave us a physical, like old-timey map.
Oh, to
That was
get
I think the
to-
only way we were allowed to like get to the next challenge. It was a
Oh.
whole thing, but yeah, it was like kind of far, I thought. I mean, I don't know, maybe not.
Well, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
But anyway, it was a lot of driving. Regardless, it was
Yeah.
a lot of driving.
That makes more like one thing I was saying. I'm jumping ahead a little bit, Justin.
Go for it.
One thing I was critical of, I was like, this rolling the barrels thing, yes, it's physically taxing, but I was like, I feel like they should like have to memorize something on the way up and then like answer it or have to go back down. But if you had just come from a memory challenge, that makes more sense now.
Yeah, try to destroy your
Yeah.
brain, then destroy your body, and then put you in a car again
Yeah.
to make you navigate and get stressed.
But
They
why
do-
not do it
like-
all at once?
And I think it was a testament to just how amazing all these teams were at the end of this race, because like there were plenty of opportunities. Like the Magellan Challenge was not easy, but we still maintained our positions. And then also I think they tried to trip us up too, because we had to get 2 matching barrels, and if you rolled up a different
Oh my God.
not matching barrel, you had to
It
like
wouldn't
do it all
count,
again.
yeah.
But like all of these teams were locked in. Like we were attentive. Like
Yeah.
They didn't
And yeah,
care.
there's so much they didn't show, obviously, like, we were actually working with Han and Holden almost during this entire episode. So there was like, some like alliances or whatever that they could have. It wasn't an alliance, it was like out of necessity, because like we both happened to be there at the memory challenge, and we were like, the other teams aren't here, let's go. Like let's finish this. But so there was obviously like a lot that they missed, but it wasn't as exciting as like the Anna and Jonathan versus Alyssa and Josiah
Yeah, I mean,
debacle, which was like amazing TV.
yeah, everybody's screaming, "Where's the penalty? Where's the penalty? What happened? Where's the
What?
penalty?"
I think it did say on the instruction, on the additional info, if you break a tile, you just have to
Piece together.
put it back together. Yeah,
Put it back together before, and it had to dry, and then put the full tile back up.
I don't
I'm
remember,
not sure.
but yeah, I think there was some rule about it, so
Yeah.
I don't think the penalty really was like an issue, but
Yeah, I think there should have been something like you had to go through another pile of tiles to try to find that exact one again. Go to another and then put that
That'd be
just
interesting.
something. Yeah.
yeah.
But it didn't really go. I think Cal said that the Magellan task was actually a switchback from season 23, and it doesn't pop off in my head as something that I'd remember. But Well, good for you. Thanks, Cal, for popping that out. All right, so we start off with Valet Roulette, which I think would have been a lot better in the earlier legs because there's a lot more teams that didn't know stick shift as well. But you guys would seem to be the only ones worried about that, and you would have been the only ones that actually got affected had it been the other way around.
Yeah.
So it could have been a twist that ruined our race, but instead it was a twist that only mattered for like 1 minute in the show.
Yeah.
We got lucky.
It's a good one though. It's interesting. Like I think it's an interesting twist. I love, obviously they say that like the best games are a perfect game design. Perfect game design is like when it's half luck and half strategy. Because then it keeps it up in the air, but it also like you always can work your way back. And I think invoking something that just has pure luck to it, I think is kind of interesting.
Well, because it's not just luck. Like if you have the skill,
to
drive correctly, then it's
true.
It's not. Yeah.
I feel like because there was no stick shift drama at this stage for you guys, they were like, oh, let's get some funny clips of people like us who couldn't get their car started. But that wasn't your first time driving stick in this race though, right? You had stick in
they had stick shift.
Bulgaria. So we didn't actually drive stick, and that's why it was good, because Jack, I'm the better navigator, but Jack's the better driver, and he doesn't know how to drive stick. So because we got an automatic, I could navigate, he could drive, and it was all good. But if it was the other way around,
it would have been very different. Yeah.
We might have ended up 3 hours behind again.
We'll see how that goes. Yeah, Will and James said it definitely should have been done early in the season. A self-drive, you got the map in the car. Map in the car helps. I guess that's that's a way for them to try to not get you guys to stop and ask for directions and try to do it on your own, which I like.
Yeah. I also think they did it this leg because, as we've been talking about, it was like 4 hours of driving, so like the opportunity to fuck up was like really high.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just didn't end up like playing out, I guess.
Jonathan, it definitely affected Jonathan, who navigated. He takes the scenic route. Anna wanted to get directions. Jonathan didn't. And the way that he gives directions was absolutely terrible from the back seat when he says go left, and the only way to get out of a roundabout is to go right. So you can't go left to get out of the roundabout ever. And he just kept saying go left. And she, I don't know how to go left. Like, she's the patience of a saint in this woman. And then he says, going around another roundabout, go back the other way. What other way? And she's just trying to like, what other way? And he said, just go back the other way. But what is the other way? She's like so patient with him. And obviously you could tell that he's not like this at home, because if he was like this at home, she would react differently. She would react in a more Diana fashion, like shut up and let me do my thing type of thing. This was more like, he's so confused. She always seemed confused by why is he acting this way, like, and felt sorry for him. So that's why, like, when people write online, oh my God, he's abusive, could you imagine what he's like off the camera? I'm like, I bet you he's a sunshine off the camera. This is like highlighted, put him in situations he can't control. And when you found out you have ASD, obviously there's a lot of things you learn in 40 years to avoid. Otherwise, you know, so he avoids those situations. And you could see on this leg and the next one, puzzles are one of the things that calms him down. And when he does puzzles, he's absolutely focused and destroys them. Like, these little things that he could pick up on, but he was terrible at giving directions. And I hated it for her, because as a driver, it's like, what the fuck? You guys on this leg were so laid back in the car while everybody else was so stressed. Why were you so comfortable, considering you guys did get lost a few times during this season? Did you guys just pick it up and be like, you know what, we got this now, we learned our lessons? Like, why were you so calm?
Yeah, like, again, me getting the opportunity to navigate, like, I love reading a map. So it invigorates you when you think you're going to be good at something. It also, and because we knew we had something to prove as well, right? Like, we had gotten lost and we were like, no, we are coming back. We are going to navigate this so well. It's going to be awesome. And so, like, I thought that was a fire that was under us.
I also think, like, you actually just learn when you're on the race. Like, I think when we got really, really lost, we were in Bulgaria. Like, we weren't spending the time to really write down every single thing. And that's why actually in Strasbourg, France, you see Jonathan at one point saying to Anna, like, we have to go, because she's been writing down directions. we had been writing down directions like literally for like 15 minutes. Like it was like a million directions.
Wow.
And so like I think your instinct in a way before you've learned that lesson, before you've gotten really lost, is like, okay, just jot down like, you
General.
know, really shorthand or whatever and like do it in 3 minutes. But like really being like, no, like if I have to spend an extra 10, 15 minutes writing down every single thing, every direction, the way it looks on, write down the way
Yeah.
it looks.
It was
like,
almost like we drew the Google Maps, like every single piece
Yeah.
of information was on there. Like,
yeah. And so I think like learning that, spending that time there is way better than spending time trying to fix something that went wrong, is like something we learned in Bulgaria and then kind of never really had an issue again.
Yeah.
It's short-term loss for a long-term gain. You lose time in the
Yeah.
short, but you
Exactly.
gain that by going in the right direction. Because one wrong direction
Yeah.
is going to take you longer than it would have to write the directions in the first place.
What's interesting though is in this leg, I say there was that one clip of me being like, "This is a detour," I think, and in Miami there was another detour, both in Portugal and in Miami.
The road was
our
closed, yeah.
roads were closed that the directions told us to go down. So
Ooh.
like we actually had to. I think I
We just
recognized where Jonathan and Anna were when that conversation was happening was actually around that area. That was like really difficult because you had to re-navigate like all of your stuff that you had planned.
That's
Because
awesome.
the whole road was closed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also when you're in the backseat giving directions, write this down. You don't point. You know why? Because the guy who's driving is looking forward. So when Holden is in the back navigating, say, just pay attention to where I'm pointing. Yeah, as you could see, when she tried to pay attention to where you're pointing on the next leg, she slams into a car. So no, you don't want to pay attention to the person in the backseat pointing. Just say left, right, straight, slight left, slight right, merge left, merge right. That's so clear and easy to understand. So if you're navigating left, right, straight, if there's two lefts, slight left, hard left, things like that. Learn those those terminologies. So when you practice navigating, that's what you practice navigating. You don't say, watch where I'm pointing, or, just go the other way. That doesn't freaking help. So learn terminology for navigation. Very important. Because if
use your odometer too, right?
Odometers,
like if
yes.
it's half a mile, look at your odometer. Like, have you gone 3 miles? Okay, you're probably past your turn.
Yes, odometers are a big thing as well. Write those down in your notes. The simple little things like that can help. If Google Maps said, just go the other way, you'd look at Google Maps like, what? Like, your navigation? No, it says, in 0.1 miles, make a right. It doesn't say, just go the other way. So just think like a computer and talk like a damn computer. It makes it a lot easier. All right, let's get to the river. The river is 600 feet across. Didn't seem like this would be too difficult to do. It's a raft. There's a slight, push. So you just kind of angle towards where the push is. And I used to teach all sorts of small boat sailing and rowing and canoeing and all that stuff in Boy Scout camp. So if you're in the front, your job is to paddle. You don't switch sides. You paddle and one side and you paddle. The guy in the back, he's the one that times it with you, and you should both be paddling on opposite sides. You never need to switch. If you need to turn, you just take your paddle and you go like this. You make a J and then it turns. It's a J stroke. It's an easy way to turn. You don't have to like push to the side. Simple things like that seem to throw off every team except you guys. You guys seem to do it really instinctually, whereas every other team had some sort of issues navigating across the river. Is that just because you trust each other? Did you guys practice at all? Did you have any experience boating?
We did. I actually went on 2 sailboats, which fast forward to Miami didn't help because there was like no wind, but I really think we were constantly either subconsciously or consciously like being like, how can we use what we know we do really well and bridge the gap between us? Like I loved seeing our little like 1, 2, 3, go, 1, 2, 3, whatever. Because like I'm like a dancer. I know rhythm. I know,
Right.
and he's a numbers guy. Like he knows, like when you guys were talking about the odometer, I was like, this is my odometer.
He
Like,
doesn't know like how far a mile is. It's a weird.
like, but I'm really good at knowing my body in space. I'll be like, this is north. I know this is north, right? But how can we combine those skills, right? Because we are a team. And so like seeing that, I was like, oh, this is his numbers and my rhythm working together to get to the other side, which I thought was cool.
Also, I think so much of the race is not something you can practice. It's just life experience. And like, we're both from San Diego, so we are both comfortable on the water. Like, I think that's why also in Miami, like, we were scared of Han because like she's amazing in the water, but we were like still kind of like, we're good enough, we stand a chance in the water. So I think we've probably done some kayaking, some stuff like that, like in San Diego. Yeah.
And this is when we see the most insane argument from Alyssa and Josiah, and this is the worst that they've ever been to each other, which is so cute compared to like actual people who argue. But Alyssa like turning around and having to, lay a little smackdown on Josiah a little bit, like, yo, you need to calm down, bro, and don't let you overcompensate. And like, I love the way that she just turned. She's a Philly girl. Philly girls are the toughest girls in America. And if you don't believe me, just turn on a Philadelphia Eagles game and look at the girls in the crowd. They're just as rough as the guys in the crowd. They'll shotgun a beer and they'll slap you in your mouth and they'll be happy with it. Philly girls are tough. So, Alyssa, I love to see that little snippiness, and then Josiah got right back into shape. And he was like, all right, let's just come back here. So,
and you've been saying
they're kind of not slaying. It was the first time that we had seen them not slay. Like honestly, I think it was shocking. It was all race we had sort of been scared of them because they were the most consistent, I think.
Yeah.
And seeing them have a moment of fear and of tension in front of us,
it was important
to watch them crack was like.
We needed that. Yeah.
Scott said in chat, according to an article, she said to him, "Don't be a dick," which I love. Obviously, they didn't put that in. Speaking of being a dick, Jonathan, Anna is trying to enjoy this experience. Like, look how beautiful it is. There's nothing they could do but row across the thing. So she's trying to soak it all up and enjoy the experience. And Jonathan is being Jonathan. And then he asks, why are you being so disrespectful right now? And he just can't get over his he's stuck in whatever got into his head while she is being the perfect partner. And when you see your partner's having a tough time, you tried all these little different ways to get in there and break through that toughness. And she just couldn't do it on this episode. But I love her for continuing to keep trying and not giving up on him, as easy as it could have been to give up on him, because he seemed to give up on the race a lot. So let's move on to the next part. Push these damn wine barrels up a hill. Nobody seemed to make this look like it was fun or easy. I know that, Carson, you're big. You're a tall dude. You got some broad shoulders. So if nothing else, you could push your weight into it. Jack, I get it. You got your noodle arms and you're trying as hard as you can. This is not your strength. Look at those things.
There they are. The ladies of the hour.
Yeah, and that's my big arm. That's my main arm.
But the main thing is you never gave up. Yeah, she's got bigger arms than you, bro. But you never gave up. You never had an attitude about it. You never pouted. Like, you just asked for help when you needed it. And Carson, you were there when he needed him. Like, that's exactly what you have to do. I mean, even Alyssa and Josiah, who are both in incredible shape, they had to stop. Alyssa had, who was a soccer player in college. Obviously, this is a big leg challenge too, to be pushing those things up the hill. She couldn't do it on her own. She needed help. Jonathan had to go back and help Anna. So props for you guys. This is was this the most physically demanding challenge of the season?
I think the wood
yeah.
been tougher.
Yeah.
Both of them were really tough, and the wood is when I learned. We were constantly learning from the race. We were saying with Bulgaria and getting back in the car. What can we do differently? And then France, we were like, oh wait, doing directions this way is really the way to do it, right, for us.
Gotcha.
What I learned from Bulgaria is that from both our setbacks and our successes, is that Jack is helpful at making me realize mind over mind sometimes, and I'm helpful at making him realize mind over matter. if I'm getting in my head, he's good at being like reframe. Mind can choose to go in a different way in your mind. I'm like, you can choose mind over physical stuff, right? And so we tapped into that, I think, in the log challenge, and so then I was trying to help in the same way because I saw that was helpful for him, that it was successful for him, but while also not expecting anything from him, not being like, well, this is the solution, it's like, if he doesn't get it, that's okay, but let's continue to just crack at what I think might propel you forward, but.
All right, so with this leads to another long drive, 69 miles, an hour and a half was the fastest you could possibly get it. And this is when Josiah says he's scared because nothing is funny now. No dad jokes, no cheesy puns. He just can't find his humor. And that seemed to be his way of relieving stress on the race, his way of like releasing that energy that your body builds up when you're in those situations, and it worked well for him, but he couldn't find it here, and it seemed to really like take hold later in the legs. So who's got a steady hand, which is like, let's go. This is like I was so jealous, and I know you're there watching it, you're so jealous. This is like every D&D nerd's dreams. Like, I want to go to a castle, dress as a damn knight, and play with swords and bows and arrows. Oh my God. Like, I pay for that stuff at Renaissance fairs. You know what I mean? Like, just a dream.
Near tantrum where I was like, you get to do all the fun stuff. Like, he does get to do all the fun stuff. No, well, it was cool.
Yeah, what's interesting though is that, like, yeah, we definitely, both of us really, really want to do that, and it's definitely, I feel so lucky. That's bucket list vibes.
Yeah.
But also, it's like I was so jealous, and like you didn't want to do all the dance stuff. I was like, oh, I wish that would be so fun to do the Bulgarian dance and stuff like that. So I felt like it was a little bit of like, God giving me like, okay, now you can do something that you like really love, especially after pizza. Like,
and then like you made all of us nerds proud by doing it faster than any other team, nailing it on your first try, and then I guess we have to call you Sir Carson now. Is it like Sir Carson? You are officially knighted.
That's right.
You get one of those certificates mailed to you?
Yeah, please, if you would be so kind, yeah.
Alyssa,
I want to know something on the archery, Justin.
Yeah.
Did anyone else use your strategy, which seems so obvious watching as a viewer, of the large going after the smallest target first and leaving the largest target for last?
Hold on, I want to be Alyssa right now. She left her chainmail on for some reason. She was just sitting there like she was the only one who had the chainmail, just sitting there. I'm like, do you know how heavy this damn thing is? This thing is so heavy. I don't know how she did that.
Well, and we were wearing underneath the big like sleeve
mail,
we were wearing full chainmail underneath everything.
Really?
It was so heavy. Like when I was talking about like being weak already, Alyssa was like, my arms already sore from the barrels. Like immediately when we put it on, you're starting to feel your muscles like ache. It was that heavy, like the whole suit of armor. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Strategy back to what you were saying.
Strategy-wise, you always go after the smallest target first whenever there's a limited amount of arrows. Whenever there's a limited amount of ammunition, you want to go after the smallest target first because you could just try again. Like you don't want it's easy to get the big target, right? That's not going to be tough. So you want to save your last arrows for that.
It seemed like you were the only
Seemed like common
I don't
sense.
know actually. Because we were first to do it and then we got it on our first try, I didn't see anybody else shoot. So I don't know if they had implemented that later, but yeah.
It's like with the darts challenge, right? And Justin, you may have covered that. It's like you should always start with the hardest one, right? You don't want to waste your time doing the ones you know you can do.
Yeah, you got to be ninjas. You got to be knights. You guys got to live the dreams on these episodes, man. And speaking of living
to the planners,
I love the Game of Thrones reference. Han and Holden with Tyrion Lannister going all out on it. I mean, he did look like my son dressed in my suits of armor and stuff when he puts this stuff on. It's so cute. I just want to try to keep this on for this whole point, just to get a little of the Alyssa vibes, because she tried this with this on her head, 3 times, and then she's like, I need a break. Took it off and nailed it right after it. Because if you're trying to this is. It's just so, it's not something you can get used to. I mean,
Crazy.
you have to wear this for weeks to get used to this. Like, I tried to wear it to a Renaissance festival, and I was like, nah, that's not happening, bro. I'm just not gonna. I want to, nerd out, but it's just so heavy, man, and it's
Yeah.
so heavy. All right, so Alyssa and Josiah took archery lessons before the race. Josiah actually became a really good marksman, but because they didn't work out their roadblocks properly, Alyssa had to do it. You guys
Yeah.
got lucky with the fast forward and never really had to worry about that balancing it out because you always had that one extra, which was pretty cool. Which is why you had to do rock paper scissors, right?
Yeah, but it goes back to our pizza decision, which knowing I was the worst chef in America, like, of course, it was a huge risk to do the pizza, but this is exactly why we did it, is because we knew that would be powerful towards the end of the race if we still had that choice when other teams didn't have that choice.
Like, if it was a dance and it was no question, like, Carson would do it. Or also, Carson's really, 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 really afraid of heights. So, like, if it was something like that, like, I had to do it. And, like, so having that option was really amazing.
So this is why I always stress every year to make sure you keep the roadblocks balanced, not like Erica and Melinda, where Melinda would have had to, Erica would have had to do everything after, like, if they made it through that episode, it was basically her having to do every roadblock from then on. So at some point they were going to go. All right. So little Tyrion.
I can't with you with this. You look like punk rock, like knight. Like,
Yeah,
the
I like-
emo,
I like how it
emo.
was-
For the
Yes, it was
Yeah.
going like a bang. Yeah.
For the wrestling fans, it's Big Papa Pump. If you're any wrestling fans out there, all right. But Holden actually channeled the inner Mongolian. I love that he threw the Mongolian reference, and Mongolians did lean it to the side so they can lean the arrow on it, and then wow! And as soon as he got that done from Andre, he nailed it easily. Again, Jonathan
So cool.
gets to this challenge and. He you could tell that something is happening to him mentally, right? Because he's like, I want to enjoy this, but I just can't because I think, I'm in last place. We're going home. I could totally understand that mentality of like, damn, it's over. How can I enjoy this? My race is over, but I don't care. Like this task, if I was in last place, there's no way I would not have enjoyed this. I'd have been sword fighting. I'd have been like. I'm surprised, Jack, you didn't take some swords and go and like start trying to fighting those dudes while you're waiting for the roadblock to go. I'm like, come on, let's go sword fighting with these dudes.
I was hoping they'd have me do something. I know, but no.
Stand, peasant.
It's this time. All right. So the next after this, you guys had to drive yourself to the railway station. 20 miles, another at least half-hour drive here, and. You guys made a wrong turn, which allowed Han Holden to catch up to you guys, which kind of led to like a producer's dream, two teams fighting for first, and then Alyssa and Josiah messing up next to the train station, somehow got back on a highway and like had to go.
So did we. So did we.
That was
like
the
almost
turn.
everyone did that.
Yeah, that was the
Really?
turn that messed us up too. That they put in. It was just this crazy. This train station was not only a train station, but it was like a whole
bus
facility.
station,
It was buses. It was like
local trains, regional trains.
Yeah, and you had to find the right section, which was completely different streets. It was completely different. It was like trying to find your way around Central Park to which entrance of Central Park you need to get to. And so to get to the other side, sometimes you had to go on a freeway to get to the other side of the train station. But we eventually found it, although major, like
we took some time
Yeah,
to get
yeah.
there too. We definitely made mistakes. Yeah.
Oh, well, that makes sense then, because Scott Steiner is Big Papa Pump in the chat. Yeah, if you don't know, yeah. There's a couple nerds. Well, there's a different form of nerd, not a D&D nerd, more of a WWE nerds. So Alyssa gets stressed out. Josiah's trying to calm her down. A fact that we found out here is there's trains that they run every 5 to 21 minutes, depending on what time of day. They waited 26 minutes at the train station for their train.
crazy to me. It's crazy to me.
26.
Oh, we did not. We did
minutes.
not.
And you guys
Ours
made it
was
look like
so-
it was one stop, right? Like there was one stop on the train. So
Essentially.
26 minutes, you probably could have just walked that in 26 minutes, but obviously it said take the train, so you had to take the train. But
Yeah.
damn, 26 minutes allowed Jonathan and Anna to catch up. And this is, again, Jonathan's having a tough time in line. His partner wants to get in front of him, but that bothers him for some reason. Don't cut me off. That's rude. And you could see she's like, she doesn't understand what's happening with him and can't, like, it's, and, you know, she's holding back the tears, asks, why are you treating me like this? Again, for viewers at home who say, oh, he must be so much worse at home. You can see she's confused because this doesn't happen at home. You can genuinely see she's so confused. Like, why are you treating me like this? Like I did something wrong. And he said, you've been treating me like I don't know, he made some comment and she's like, you've been treating me like this for 2 hours. And he's like, you've been disrespectful all day. I don't remember one time this whole season she's ever said anything disrespectful, even raised her voice to him. She's such a saint. But again, if anybody's actually been around abuse, this is not what somebody who's abused acts like. So stop with that fucking term. I hate it. I hate that term so much. I come from a household where abuse happened. I know what abuse is and what it looks like. And this is not it. This is her being genuinely confused at a husband's actions that obviously don't happen that often because it's confused. But again, a lot of it, I'm not dismissing it and saying it's acceptable in any way, shape, or form. And obviously they've been in therapy for a year now, which I have mad respect for, and they're trying to work it out because you promise to love each other forever and you don't give up when your partner's having a tough time mentally. You do what you need to do to make that work. And then he tells her that you never take accountability for your actions, which I'm like, holy pot, kettle, black, Jesus. All right. And then she's like, I'm just trying to stay positive. And then on the train, he's like, don't give me that. I don't want that staying positive stuff. Like, Jesus Christ. Then Alyssa and Josiah run off the train and he's sitting there. She's like, they just ran off the train, bro. Like, you were just bummed out that you thought you were in last place, but now you have a chance and you're still not. Like, that's what pisses off all of the viewers. Like, how can they possibly win or get past Alyssa and Josiah, who are trying so hard and they look like they're not even trying, and somehow pass them? All right, well, we won't get ahead of that. All right, Carson's brother is a Tyler, and you guys just did the bathroom. Did you help with that, or did you just watch?
I did. No, I did. I mainly like helped him grout because like it was like the like intricacies of the tile. Like it was some really intense stuff that like he needed to do. Like I would have messed it up, but I learned by watching, and then also I grouted it. So I got some stuff. Yeah, I got some skills in
For
there.
the past year, I've been doing bathroom and kitchen remodels with my friends, so I've learned a lot about that. And I'm not good at tiling, especially like if the tiles are like this big, or the big, huge ones I could deal, but the small ones and that putting those little spacers in and all that patience that you need, like, it's tedious. So it does make a difference.
Luckily this was much more. There were no spacers. There were just, it was like more like mosaic work than it was.
Yeah,
tiling.
the tiling on this challenge really wasn't the hard part. It was like the puzzle. Yeah.
All right, so Jack.
How long did it take you guys to do the puzzle? Just curious.
I always say like, quantity is way more than me, but like time is crazy to me. Like you could tell me that it was an hour. You could tell me that it was 25 minutes, and I would believe both of those. Like time is just wonky on the race, like. But I do remember being like, we did it well. We did it fast.
Yeah. I don't know exactly. I feel like maybe half an hour.
Okay.
I believe it.
That seems about right. Like watching it and trying to sort it out and then do all that. You guys nailed it on your first try. Han and Holden got it on his second try. Alyssa and Josiah got it on their third try. Jonathan is this is part of what he does. That's part of how ASD helps him on the race, because this is ultimate focus. Dude didn't even take off his backpack. He just saw the things. He's like, put them all together. Another thing that Jonathan and Anna did that allowed them to pass Alyssa and Josiah, Jonathan had 2 tiles every time he went up. 2 tiles, stuck them on. 2 tiles, stuck them up. When you see Alyssa and Josiah, there's like 1 tile. They're trying to make it beautifully clean. It's like, stop being perfect. Get the shit up there and then wipe it off after. Like, it was a little frustrating to watch at home. It's like, dude, stop being perfect.
I also think something that I don't think was edited in, but was actually crucial, I thought, to the puzzle.
Oh, yeah.
Was you have these stacks of tiles, and I wasn't really looking at the other teams, but I immediately started to recognize, I think these are all oriented up.
Like correctly.
So when we spread them all out, don't just start spreading them and turning them.
Yeah.
Just move them side to side. So if teams started to turn them as they took them off the pile just to get them all out, suddenly they're all twisted around. Where I was like, okay, let's just blah 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 blah. Then we can look at them. They're all facing forward, and then just move them around.
Little things like that make a big difference. Yeah, that's what separated Alyssa and Josiah and Jonathan and Anna. Like they had things twisted where Jonathan and Anna's were all straight up. So little things like that.
That might have been it.
Yeah. See, little things like that on the race, especially like reading clues. If something's is bolded, it means something. Something's got italics, it means something. Every little thing can mean something on the race, and something like that you could pick up on. Everything's face up and already in its right, placement. That makes up for a lot of simple little times. And 5 minutes here, 3 minutes there, 4 minutes there, you win the leg by 20 minutes, which is a great lead in the Amazing Race. 20 minutes to win the race. So crossing the bridge, it seemed a couple, everybody had a little bit of like, do we cross the bridge? Do we not cross the bridge? Were you able to see the boats from across the way and know that's why you crossed the bridge? Or did you like ask people like?
No,
for me, the building.
For me, it was the image of the bridge. Like you could see that the bridge was angled like this way instead of this way.
Okay.
And like that was it. I was like, we gotta get across ASAP. And then from there we just sort of like ran straight. But yeah, that wasn't really actually that difficult. For me. But
yeah. It didn't take too long, but it was an interesting. I really liked the way that clue was presented.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Because it was cool. It was cool just to receive an image and sort of try to relay that into your real life. It was like such a cool process.
And then also to like when we got to the water, obviously you knew you had to get to the water, and then going like this and like holding it up and then identifying what's wrong. Like the bridge angle in your vision is the wrong way. So like hop over. Yeah.
Here's a little.
That's your orienteering class helping right there.
There you go, orienteering. Here's another little thing to put in your notes. The Amazing Race loves having people sing or music or something like that at pit stops. So if you're ever looking for a pit stop, listen. If there's something going on that sounds like there's a party, that sounds like there's something local, that sounds like cultural, that's usually going to be like towards the pit stop. So if you're not sure, go left or right, and you can hear something like that. That happens a lot on the Amazing Race. On this season, at least 4 or 5 separate episodes had singers or some sort of dancing or music in there, and on our season as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really great tip, actually. That being said, for this leg, I am certain they were like, because it was so flat, we knew it was on the shoreline either this way or that way. We were looking on the other shore being like, okay, if I could just see a brown Outback hat, like Phil is there, but they were hiding away until they knew, like they probably had somebody in plain clothes, like right at the end of the bridge or something like that. And like, okay, now pop out, I don't think they were singing before right when we're there. But that's a great, because in other things, I think in Bali, there was like 40 people or something like that. And when we were running up, we did hear like a whole like production, and we were like, this is the right direction. So that's a great note. Yeah. Just
some little things like that can make the difference, especially if it comes down to a foot race or something close. Just put it in the notes, boys and girls, put it in the notes. This has led to one of the best ever cliffhangers on The Amazing Race. Jonathan and Anna against Alyssa and Josiah, and he's going up, and it looks like they're about to win. Then crash. And at the damn finale party, the reaction from the crowd was absolutely insane at this point.
Insane. To be continued. And everyone looking at us, like looking over towards all the racers to be like, what happened? And us being like, I didn't know this was happening.
Yeah, it's such a good, and that's why I loved your parties. They were full of people who were so invested in this that the energy inside that rooms were insane. Everybody was so into it, so much love inside that party, and you could tell the type of people you are by the the friends you surround yourselves with. And there's so much love in that room. Nothing but good times with great people who are there to have fun. And when the music came on, ready to dance as well. So I love that as well. All right, let's burn through this. This has been a long one. If you guys ever if you need to go, feel free. I'd love to you to stick around, but obviously you guys have been very.
No, sorry. I think it's half us just,
venting.
You could talk about it for a million years.
I love that part. I've already seen all this. I already have all my notes written down, and I love hearing the behind the scenes stuff and your points of views, because you've done something that I didn't do. You won the race, so I want to learn from the winners, right? All right, so this one first starts off, teams must cross the bridge to make their way to the other side. And say, walk on the other side of the river, check in. Okay, Jack.
You're still in Portugal.
Yeah, I'm still in Portugal, still in Portugal, going back. Okay, travel. Bam. All right, so this next episode is a lot less travel time, an hour and 52 minutes. We got some fun facts, but my boy Mark Jarrell, who is a super fan who helps me with all this stuff. I used to do it all by myself, but now Mark jumps in and does some of this good stuff. He went in and found out those cigarette boats, that the Miami Vice boats, he saw the names on it, and he went and did some information. The Cigarette 39 Top Gun Unlimited, they are $708,000 if you want to buy one of those boats.
Whoa.
So you guys were almost on $1 million boat right there. They could travel at 117 miles an hour. Were they full throttling it with you guys? Because
it was.
Yeah, like it was great. It was so amazing. I think, again, to that thing I said earlier about, like, for some reason this didn't feel as pressured as the other legs, was because they started us off doing something so unbelievably fun as well. Like, grounding yourself in, like, today's gonna be awesome.
It's like the ATVs or like other moments where, like, you have no choice but to just, or like they cut this out, but we also had like Jeeps through the desert in Dubai, and there are these moments where you can just sit and just look out and enjoy, and
they do give you a couple chances during the race to slow down and appreciate the race and just take it all in, which I love when they give you a chance to do that. Give you an easy task that just shows some culture. It's a chance for you to just have fun, like, throwing the cross in the river. You guys don't stress about that. It was just like, hey, let's dance and have some fun.
Yeah.
And you can see here, like, Jonathan is in heaven. He's so nice. He's like really loving life. He's supportive to his wife. Everything is going well. Like, it's everybody having a good time. They played a Miami Vice theme song, which I'm like, is there anybody still alive that like watch Miami Vice? I mean, I know I'm old, but I mean, back in the day, but geez. All right, so all three. Oh, hold on. You guys didn't win anything for this leg. Were you pissed off about? They said you upgraded to business class, but all three mother teams got upgraded to business class. I got so pissed off because there was two legs. We didn't win anything. That was the first season that they started doing that shit, where they didn't give you a prize for coming in first place. I'm like, twice, man, twice. Come on, bro.
Yeah, it was even more spicy. It was even more painful because we thought when they said that we were gonna be in business class that we had won a prize.
We thought like everyone else would be in economy, and this would be like a huge, maybe not huge, but an advantage. We'd be well rested for Miami. And then when we pull up to the airport and everyone's with us in business class, and we're like, what? Like, what are you doing? Get back in economy.
Come on, peasants.
Yeah.
We can board
We were
first.
all like that too. Like, what happened?
Oh yeah, right. You guys had first class every damn trip, didn't you?
Oh no, I meant as a viewer. I was like,
yeah.
wait a minute, what happened to their advantage here?
For future racers, just so you know, you have to book 4 tickets: one for your sound guy, and one for your camera guy. And if you are smart, camera guys and sound guys can be spiteful and run slow. And you don't want to piss them off by giving them middle seats. So when you get 4 seats, you want to make sure that your camera guy and your sound guy have the best seats. So when you book those 4 seats, you make sure, like, take whatever seats you want. And we'll get the ones that's left. Just for future races. I don't know if it worked for you guys, but I definitely remember overhearing camera guys and sound guys when they're sitting in the airports waiting and stuff about being pissed off that a certain team made them sit in the middle. And they were like, if I got to be uncomfortable, it's like, why would I go out of my way to run harder for you? Like, oh shit. I'm like, Dad, we're always giving them motherfuckers the better seats. Whatever seats that we get, they're getting the best seats. And they were like,
Yeah, I don't think we ever
I
heard
never-
anything like
I
that.
never saw anything.
Yeah, we
else.
felt like
Yeah.
all the camera people were pretty with it, but I think also maybe it's just a matter of like, you know, a lot of these guys maybe, or everyone has been doing this for a while now, that like immediately whenever we're booking, they jump in and be like, hey, what seat am I? Can I get this seat like at the counter?
Okay.
Like they take matters into their own hands at this
They
point.
didn't do that for
I
us.
think.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
always tried to
Really?
put them in front of us because as we wanted to get out first, so we always wanted to be up front. But then we learned like if we're waiting for our camera guys, then it doesn't matter. Like they have to be out there filming us for us to run. Because I think you guys don't run in the airports anymore, so that maybe not be as a big
No,
deal.
they have a stop down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably why. We had to run in the airport. So if we let our camera guys get out and they could set up, then we were able to just start running as soon as we get out. Whereas other teams get out and had to wait for their camera guy and sound guy. And I guess your season they stopped. I did read somewhere that you guys weren't allowed to run in airports, so they kind of just stopped you down and then like released you.
Yeah, they stop you down right after, which I think is good too, because it's like hard to explain that. Like, and then everyone's mad. Like, it's hard to explain like the seats and the like.
Yeah.
That's I actually was a fan of like stopping down after everything and going. Yeah.
It's like every plane ride's a true equalizer.
Is that Emily?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
Emily?
As long as you're on the same.
Is your sister in chat, or does it just happen to be another Emily? She's like, I'm taking notes, Molly. All right, all right. Jonathan and Anna pull a super fan move here, and they print out the map to Miami. They print out local maps before they even get on the plane. They have maps to Miami, which I love that
I
stuff.
remember that.
Did you guys do in between legs while you're on the planes? Try to get information for the city that's coming up, or were you like, let's get as much sleep as possible, teams?
Yeah, we definitely did, but we never. I remember them going into that there was like a little square little booth or whatever that they went into, but then there was something about the production needed us. Oh, like we were like, oh, could we go too? And then it was like, oh no, they were already in there. So then they had gotten there earlier, so they had time to do that. But that was really awesome of them to get that printed out. But most of the time we were just looking on people's phones, writing stuff down all the time. Like we knew we didn't need sleep. Like
yeah, there was some teams on our race that prioritized sleep, and while everybody was sleeping, like I'd go around, I'm like, look at all these people sleeping. I'm like sitting next to locals. I'm like, can I sit here for a second? I want to talk to you. Like, like what's really big in this city? Like what's really popular? Like what are the things that everybody like the tourists go to all the time? I always try to find those things out. And that's how we won in Argentina, because the Cathedral of Polo is something I talked to somebody about on the airplane. And they were like, Polo is really big here. And I'm like, what's the big stadium? Like, what's the one that you have to visit? And it was the one that we wound up going to the pit stop, where everybody went to a church. We knew exactly to go there. And you guys crushed this episode, by the way. You won by 50 minutes. It wasn't close. You guys like crushed.
How do you know that?
Because I'm fucking good at my job. No, because when you rip and read, there's departure times. So your departure time was
the previous leg.
Yes. So from the previous, so you won that. I didn't know you won the previous leg by 50 minutes, not the finale. I don't know the finale. From what I heard, the finale was actually you guys destroyed like by 90 minutes. From what I heard, it wasn't even close.
Yeah, it was pretty decisive.
Yeah, it wasn't even close.
Yeah,
dominating.
It wasn't very close.
Fucking dominating over here.
Yeah, ever since the water, the hoverboard or whatever.
Yeah, hoverboard, and then also with the car accident, that definitely didn't help.
Yeah, definitely put them back. All right, so Jack and Carson get out, get the first taxi, boom, off to a great start. Han wants some water challenges, and
she's gonna get them.
She feels like if they get water challenges, it's going to be a leg up. So they're ready to go. Jonathan and Anna get into a taxi, and they're like, this is an emergency. We're racing for $1 million. And I know people online hate when people say that, but they fucking don't know anything about the race, and they should shut up. Because if you see it pays off here, because their taxi driver's like, meow, 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 and passes another team. It's like, why would the taxi driver care if you guys were on the race? Well, because they're in a service business. Like, why would a waiter want to do a good job? Because they're in a service business. So if you're saying I'm in a hurry and I'm not a tourist, this is a tourist city, you say, hey, I'm a tourist, they'll go slower and show you the sights. You say, yo, I'm in a hurry, they're like, all right, screw the tourist stuff and we'll get you that. So for the idiots
I
on
also
Reddit,
feel like they if you can make them feel like a hero, if you can make your taxi driver feel like they're on your team.
Yes.
Like learn their name, really try to explain what's happening, cheer when they do something amazing. You know, like I think those are things you can do to like inspire greatness.
Yeah, we started to realize
Taxis.
that like sometimes if it feels like it feels urgent but negative, they feel like they're an obstacle in your way.
Right.
And you don't want them to feel like that, right? Because like if it's like, oh, like we need to get there now, they're like you know, they're trepidatious, right? Whereas like if they're excited to be like you're gonna win us this thing, like you are awesome, like they're excited to throw caution to the wind and go crazy, you know, or whatever. But
totally get that. All right, so we got this first legs, 14 miles, 23 minutes by taxi. We got yourselves speedboats. We got fun going on the speedboats, good stuff, and that leads to scrambling. We're going scrambling, which I love the idea of a scramble. But if you look at a map and you see all three of these, there's really only one way to go. I mean, there was one on the same beach as you guys, like. Otherwise, you'd have to cross a bridge to get to the other one. So anybody who would cross the bridge is already an idiot and shouldn't. If you made it this far into the race, then you're probably not an idiot. So you know, okay, there's only really one way to go. If anybody if Anna, I know Jonathan got pissed off at Anna and was like, oh, you should have went to the one that you knew. But if they would have went to the one that they wanted to go, they would have took an hour and 9 minutes. Whereas you guys, if you went the right way, it was 56 minutes. So you could save 13 minutes, 14 minutes in travel time by doing it the right way.
To be fair, Miami's traffic is so unpredictable, though. Your 50-minute drive could end up being 2 hours there. So
Just bumper to bumper.
Yeah,
I think to fix the scramble, like if they had you know, each task being like almost equidistant in different directions, that would be the thing that makes you want to decide differently.
Here's what I will throw out there is that and there's a couple of interesting things here, which is that we did the speedboat, and that's actually where, when we got back onto the shore, that is when we stopped down for 2 days. And I am so scramble didn't even start until 2 days later. I don't know whether I just thought this up, or I think I heard that in that 2 days there was a lot of shifting around that needed to happen.
I know the final place was not supposed to be at that stadium.
True, yeah, because they needed it covered.
And it got flooded. The place that they were going got flooded.
Maybe all those challenges were the same, but there's part of me that was like, oh, maybe they needed to change locations of one of these things because a place got destroyed, or maybe. That like, you know, like.
Although I don't know though, because I think the reason they had to shut down was because they were water challenges and it was dangerous during that day, and then so I don't know, but who knows?
I was actually. I would say I live in South Florida, right? And Lewis and Michelle live in Miami. I was kind of surprised that we only really got to see the water area, right? The beach area, all the watercraft, and not some of the more cultural, like fusion neighborhoods in Miami, besides the Calle Ocho. But there's so much to see in Miami and to show off of Miami. I was a little surprised not to get a little bit more of that. And so maybe that's part of it.
Well, they don't really show American, like when they come to America, it's not about culture, it's about wow. When they're in the other places in the world, it's about culture. Usually when it's America, it's like something big, exciting, things like that. Like I don't really like, I don't remember them showing little culture when they came to Philly, like cheesesteak is that culture, like culture in New York. New York's got Little Italy, got Chinatown's got all this stuff. They never did any of that stuff. They're just like, they went to a freaking World Fair park in the middle of Queens. Nobody goes to Queens. Nobody wants to go to Queens, but they send them to Queens anyway.
Yeah, but that's like an historical element of the city, right? Like this was just like touristy. I can go hydroplanes, ride a speedboat, go to the beach. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, selfishly, I'm happy exactly the way it works. Nothing to say about that, but yeah.
So the
come to see us in Miami, and we'll show you the rest of the city.
The first task was pretty useless. I mean, it didn't seem like there was any chance for any team to pass another team. Really, it was just, go out 100 feet, 200 feet, and I mean, I know that thing was 170 pounds, but it's in the water, so obviously it's got some sort of floatability to it. So it was floating a little bit. And if you were able to get it up on there, so everybody could get it up there, right? No, I love that Jack is like
Literally, yes.
pulling you up there, and you're like, oh, my damn noodle arm's not working. And you managed to get it up there. Jonathan and Anna are pretty much, they're the first there. They jump on the boat before they get into the water, and and she's like, yeah, I know. And he's like, well, could you get off the damn boat? And then it goes into the water. So Jonathan and Anna finish just as you guys are starting. Did they make you wait for the other team to finish, or did it just happen to play like that?
Yeah,
No, it just
everyone
happened to
can
be-
go.
yeah. But it was kind of like blah blah blah. Like
'Cause
when we were leaving, Jonathan or Han and Holden were starting. It was tight. We were seeing
yeah,
each other.
yeah, it's kind of what I look like here. Oh, and going back, Scott said about the cab drivers that they went from 13th to 5th in Hong Kong because they had a good taxi driver. So a lot of that stuff can really play off and really come into play with a good
Well,
taxi driver.
I was going to.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say too. I know that we're like talking your ear off today, but another
Don't ever
intricacy
apologize for
before we
nerding
can-
out on the race. I love that shit. All right.
But another crazy intricacy that happened was before we got on the speedboats, it was this big thing and decision on the taxis because the taxis had dropped us off at this location that was like sort of in the middle of nowhere.
It was like the marina.
It was like a
where we got
marina,
on the
but
boat,
off
yeah.
the freeway. So it's like no taxis coming by if we let this taxi go.
Mm.
And obviously we know
Yeah.
how important that can be if you need it, right?
Yeah.
However,
And the clue did not say release your taxi, which oftentimes it'll tell you to release your taxi if you're done with it.
yeah. So me and Jack and Han and Holden decide like we are gonna keep you stay here. And then Jonathan and Anna send their taxi, release their taxi. Now, as soon as I'm on that boat, I am like, sir,
we start. We leave though. The boat leaves.
the boat is on like drifting out, and I'm like, sir, I need to know, sir, where are we going? Are we coming back here?
Yeah.
He was like, like,
no, we're not coming back.
he didn't know. I feel like he was like, I don't know. We were like,
No, I think he was like, no, we're definitely not coming back. And we were like, really?
Well,
Like, are you
eventually
sure?
he
Are you
did.
sure? Are you sure? And he was like, no, we're not coming
I
back.
think he was nervous that he like wasn't supposed to talk to us or something like that. Because at first he was trepidatious, and then he was like, no, we're not coming back. And I was like, you need to turn this boat around right now. So our boat turns around. Han and Holden then realize what we're doing. Their boat turns around, and then Anna and Jonathan's boat turns around. And so we all get out and we release our taxis, and we end up still in the same order. Me and Jack, Han and Holden, Anna and Jonathan going back out across the bay. And then when we stopped down, they said because Jonathan and Anna had released their taxi,
And they didn't ask their boat to turn around. The boat was confused and just turned around. Actually, Anna and Jonathan aren't first.
Jonathan and Anna are gonna have like a 5-minute lead on you when we start back up.
It was
By the way, we're stopping down for 2 days.
yeah.
Oh my god.
And so we went from first to second. You don't see that in the show at all because you just see Anna and Jonathan show up first to the first task, which makes more sense.
But it was like a big.
So that was like
It was a
Huh.
big taxi drama. Yeah.
That's interesting. I like a little taxi drama. Obviously not for me because we ran out of money 4 damn times for fucking taxis. There was a leg that we had like $100 to start, and when we got to the end, we had $10, and all we did was pay for taxis, and other teams had $70. I'm like, how do you still have $70? Like all we did was taxis. I'm like, we have $10 and all we did was taxis. Well, I guess they charged you more. I'm like, mother. God damn it! Man.
Whoa.
That's. I wish they would have kept that storyline so that New York thing would have made a lot more sense when he was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna keep the meter running. I want $100 to wait." Fuck $100. Then I got $20 for the whole leg in New York City. Oh, nobody in New York City is giving you a free ride. Not like in Brazil. They're like, get the fuck out of here. All right. So South Point, right, 14-minute drive. Jonathan and Anna start heading to the wrong one, and then they get lost, and then they reroute. Let's see, Han, Hole. All right, so yeah, let's get to this SOAR task because the other one was pretty weird. Han gets there, and she's like so confident. She's like, "Oh my god, we're definitely gonna pass these guys." It's like, there's no way This is what's called a 5-hole, by the way. It's when there's a task that's pretty much made for you, and you somehow blow it, and somebody else gets there. I love your childlike enthusiasm when you jump into the water and you're like, "Oh, it's a crab," and you're just like, looks like you're trying to swim to catch this
I'll
crab.
tell you, we're both Cancers, our astrological sign. So as literally, I don't know, maybe this is woo woo and weird. As soon as I saw that, I was like, "It's a wrap. It's mine. Like we've got this." Like the crab was a sign for me.
That's so
Like
cute.
again, we wield delusion. Like when something can bring us energy, we use it. You know, and so like when Jack told me that, like I saw this crab and suddenly I was like,
I was a winner in the moment. Like
he's a spirit coming
Oh
to
my
help
God.
me with this. Like,
That
I
is
was like,
so
use
cute.
what you need. Like, yeah.
I love that. That's so cute. Whatever gives you that motivation to go on. I mean, if that could be it. All right, so this task seemed a little weird. It's like your natural instinct for balancing on anything ever in Earth is to use your arms to kind of balance and level yourself out. But these guys kept screaming to hold on to your freaking life jackets. And I'm like, how does that help you balance? I don't understand how holding your life jackets help you balance. And then when you did it, you didn't touch your fucking life jackets. You were like, nah, 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 nah. Like, so did they explain the whole hold your life jacket thing? Was it a safety thing? What was that? Was it a balance thing? Like,
No,
why
I
they
don't
kept saying that?
safety thing. I think just thought that was the best balance because here's the thing. I think it was they're trying to stop you from being unbalanced in the first place. Like if you can you can hold your body just like a stick the entire time, you won't need to use your arms. Like theoretically, like you should just stand completely straight the entire time and not move. And if your weight is going forward, you're more likely to fall forward, I think is what they were getting at.
Gotcha.
Obviously, like when you, I think, are off balance, like I think the arms do help because you find a new way to rebalance. I just sort of ended up, like not really listening to that instruction too much. I think like there was no rule about it. Like you could do it however you wanted. That was
Right.
just like them trying to help. But I think I realized also like I was not going to tackle this challenge by always being unbalanced and being the perfect stick. I actually ended up deciding, it's hard to explain, but I sort of like almost every like or more than half second, like boom, 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 I was moving my feet forward and back every time so that I was just
Like feathering.
instead of standing straight, I was just moving back and forth so that I was constantly like rebalancing.
Interesting.
And so I think that's why I was using my hands, was because like if I moved back for too much, like I was constantly sort of like actually using my momentum to rebalance. So I sort of didn't really listen to their expertise.
Scott says if this was his challenge, they just weren't there long enough. Flyboarding is all about keeping your toes forward and lowering your center of gravity. I guess they've done it before. We thought, I mean, everybody watching thought Han was just going to get up there and nail it because she's anything that was board related, like she crushed it. I mean, it seemed like this season was set up for her. There's 3 separate challenges that she should have aced, and she aced 2 of them and then crunched under pressure. It took you 9 tries to get it. Took her 10 tries to get it. After taking a small husa break, she kind of just like laid in the water, took some deep breaths, got up, and then nailed it. But that was after you had already left. And then Anna, poor Anna, 21 attempts. But she eventually got it. And this is a time when you thought Jonathan was going to be like, you just lost it first, dude, bro. You just lost it. But he was so like content and like happy and just in a different mindset today. Very supportive of his wife, and they moved on from there. Like you could tell that this, she even said this was the hardest thing ever that she's ever had to do. And you know, when she first fell in the water and was swallowing, you can hear her swallowing that salt water. And swallowing salt water is not the same as swallowing like lake water. Like it gets in your nose, boogers start coming, like you start gagging. It's not fun. So okay, let's move on to the next part. 7 miles away, should be 18 minutes of driving. Jack went to sailing camp as a kid. Obviously, you didn't learn the terms tack and jibe. Holden worked at a summer camp that had boats. Obviously, he didn't learn shit. You guys have no clue what's going on, and I'm sitting there like, oh, come on, lesson 1, small boat sailing. They even have those little feathers at the top, the ribbons. All right, you see the ribbons on the top? Those were showing you which way the wind was blowing. All you got to do is turn the thing towards which way the wind was blowing, and then you got people right in front of you showing you how to do it. Like, you see when they're leaning back?
I know, but
they're leaning back to
crazy,
fight against the wind. But go ahead.
The crazy thing is that even these, like, the people who were the kids who were like part of this instruction, like, everyone was like, I don't remember what they said or something like that, but everyone was under the impression like this is the worst day to sail.
It didn't look very well.
They were moving extremely slowly.
Yeah,
like they made it look like they were sailing really fast. It was
no, they were going
really
really
slow.
Definitely faster than us, but it was like I keep saying it was like we were on the Truman Show. Like it was like a studio set. Like
so these kids are probably like 65 pounds, and we are probably like 400 pounds together.
Thinking,
yeah. So I think we were obviously going to be slower, but. We sort of did actually figure out a little bit at certain points when we would get wind, and then you could just feel it, like the air was just sitting on you, like there was nothing. And I think that's why everyone at a certain point, or pretty much the entire way, was just paddling, because it was like honestly faster to do that than to try to just like wait for wind.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I mean, small boat sailing was one of the hardest merit badges. It was a Boy Scout camp, so I taught all the merit badge classes. It was one of the hardest ones that not many kids took unless they were true like merit badge hunters. So but canoeing and rowing and swimming, those were big ones. But small boat sailing was like, maybe. All right, so you guys get through that pretty tough. You start, your arms get tired, and obviously, like, let me work that rudder. Let me get that rudder going. And Jack using those big old the big old brain of his, while Carson's using the big old shoulders to get up in there and just doing the swimming. You guys seem to get through it relatively easy once you figured out that, hey, we're just going to swim. Not really much to it after that. There wasn't like anything that could have really separated one team from the other unless somebody taught small boat sailing and might have been able to go a little. I didn't seem that much faster, to be honest.
Yeah, we were definitely scared that they could know small boat sailing unbelievably well, but we were also by the time we were going around, it was like an hour to an hour and a half to go around that island. It was a long,
I did not
time.
expect that.
It was so long.
Yeah.
And so by the time we get back to the dock, we're seeing Han and Holden go out, and that was us being like, oh, I think something happened. Was that when they got in their car accident? Because
I don't remember it.
Something happened there that we were like, oh, we've got a really good lead.
No, they got in a car accident after that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but still, maybe they got lost.
They just
edited
it.
We had
They could have edited it differently.
Maybe.
Yeah.
True.
All right, so you guys get out and you actually talk to the perfect guy. This dude is like on the money.
An angel to us.
He looks at it. He's like, yeah, Kaya Ocho, and then looks like I think it's Domino Park in Kaya Ocho, and it's like, yeah, he figured out your clue for you, dude. Not on the race, but he figured it out simple. I mean, I lived in Miami, so I would have known Kaya Ocho, and it looks like a domino, so I probably would have put 2 and 2 together. But just watching him, it was like, dude, that is a hero for you right there, giving you that extra oomph to get the little things that you need.
Yes.
And this is where Han hits another car because Holden is terrible at giving directions, and she turns around and is like, am I supposed to go right? And then wham! And if you look at the cars, you can see they really like took some paint off the other car, took the letters off their rental car, like the letters were all jacked up. And then Han, I don't know if it was the smartest idea to say we're racing for $1 million when somebody could be like, yeah, give me, you ain't leaving until I get money.
Oh my God.
Just so people who are watching know, if that guy wanted you to wait for the cops to come, you wait for the cops to come. You can't leave until the person you hit tells you it's okay to leave. So that person can make you stay there for hours. So that's why Holden went over there and was busting out the Spanish and was like, yeah, we're in a race, trying to be honest, but very, very fortunate for him. And again, another chance to throw Jody under the bus. When they hit 3 cars, they didn't wait, which is why they got into a big argument with Bertram and fuck Jody. All right. Worst winners ever. All right, let's move on to Domino Park. I think that lady was a little too eager. Did she jump up and give you the clue?
No.
Oh,
Opposite day. We literally were wandering that park, like say asking people or whatever, but there was one woman who needed to hear us say the word domino.
Out loud, like to
oh,
receive your next clue. And
that's
so we
funny.
kept being like, do we need to play with them? Do we need to beat them?
Why don't
Do
they
we need
show
to?
that? They just made this
And we
seem
were there for
useless.
probably we were
You
there for
could
15
tell in
minutes.
the edit. We could tell in the edit that you were walking around and then she finally stood up. I honestly, when I was watching it the second time, so I missed some things at the party,
A lot of things. Yeah.
just over with all the excitement. But when I watched it again, she was just standing there for the other teams, and I think maybe producers decided like, hey, we got to keep them kind of close. Like, let's just give them the clue.
These guys are
I
already
think
2
because
hours
all
ahead.
Yeah.
Well, because also if we had walked away, she may not have heard. Like,
Because
and
we were saying, we were like,
is this Domino Park?
right? But we're like,
Do we need to play dominoes with them? So I think there was sort of this like weird thing, and then they were like, it's not worth it. And also we were, I think they knew that we were like decisively ahead. Like I think we might have been done with our puzzle by the time anyone else even got to Domino Park. So maybe that was why as well. Was like we might have even won by the time we were
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know.
there.
But
But
Yep, that's what our leg would have been if we kept the taxi. But it was good TV. Like we were both there at the same time. It wouldn't have happened if we kept our taxi. We would have been having lunch, waiting for them.
it
Like,
was so good.
fucking hell.
fantastic.
All right, so let's get to Domino Park, to the Ice Palace Film Studio, where we get what everybody's been trying to figure out. What is the final challenge going to be? What is it going to be based around? Are you guys those type of people trying to figure it out all along the way, taking crazy type of notes? Did you?
Of course.
Did you-
Yeah,
did
yeah.
you have
heard
any
back
idea?
every leg being like, well, there's been 2 negative twists. So what about a positive twist? What about an express? Like
We were writing everything
We were
down. I was
analyzing
writing
everything,
down like every currency we used, how much that was, like compared to the dollar, if we had to order the
Ooh.
currencies. Like I was trying to think of like everything that hasn't been done that could have been. And then of course this one actually was like very minimally
it was a puzzle.
memory
Yeah, yeah.
and really just a sort of it was a difficult puzzle.
It was a hard
But
puzzle. Yeah,
but
It was a puzzle.
once we were like, okay, we can do a puzzle, and I think we can do a puzzle fastest. So we were pretty happy.
Yeah, it didn't seem like the memory challenge was difficult. It was just putting the puzzle together. Like the memory test, like you're gonna fucking know the twists on every leg. Nobody's gonna mess that up. And if you do, you don't deserve to be in the finals. Like, duh. Like us as viewers could probably do it without taking notes and just going back and thinking. Never mind taking notes and going back to your hotel every night and studying like, okay, this and this and this and this, and it's like buried into your brain. I think the best way to do this as a viewer watching it was to put the picture together first, because they seem like to be 3 or 4 pieces, and
Yeah.
it's so much
Yeah.
easier to put those pieces together than those yellow. And like the way Jonathan
And-
did it was the hardest. He put all the yellow pieces together with his brain, like the way his brain worked.
Yeah. And like those had a clear side. Like the yellows, whoever designed it was really cool how they designed the puzzle pieces, because on those yellow big puzzle blocks there were holes for the pegs
Yeah.
on both sides of the thing.
Ooh.
So you didn't know which, like literally the pegs could be like, it could be turned any which way. It wasn't like they had a front.
That's
So it was
interesting.
definitely the move to put the pictures together first to figure out what you're spelling, because those shapes weren't coming together on their own.
Yeah, that's how my brain would have logically done it. Like I said, Jonathan's brain works different than ours, obviously with his autism, but he loves puzzles, and he looked like he put all of the yellow pieces together on the floor before the other things were even thought of. I'm like, damn,
Yeah, wow.
dude is really good at puzzles. You guys seem to like burn through that pretty much no problem. And then you had to go to Lone Depot Park. Which one of you thought it was? I think it was you, Jack, right? You thought it was a Dolphins stadium?
I have no idea.
No,
I still wouldn't know if I was wrong. Like I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
So
and you were like
You
Dolphin
said
Expressway,
You said Dolphin Expressway, yeah.
which is the way to go, by
highway.
the way, right? That was the right way to go, was the Dolphin Expressway, and then you cut down 12th Street.
yeah,
Yeah. It was great. The rain had picked back up, and actually you see it sort of, but whoever was coloring this episode, like props to y'all, because we were in a torrential downpour. at this point. Like, we were asking this guy who only spoke Spanish. We were in, like, the cameramen were, like, trying to hide their equipment. Our papers are getting completely soaked. It was like the scene from the Titanic, like the Notebook. Like, we were, like, in a storm. Like,
Yeah.
And so it was complicated to try to get directions there because no one else was out in the street either. Like, people were
And we had to like hold this guy hostage
in the
rain, and he was so nice. He was like, it's completely fine. Like, don't worry.
Did you
And
get
it was
lost?
so full circle that it was raining too, because we won our first leg in the rain too. So it was like super cool.
Did you really get lost on the way to the final pit stop? Okay.
No. But we did get lost on. I mean, we might have taken a different turn.
No, we did everything exactly right. But I think what they were getting at was, like Carson said, there was a road closure, so we were trying to figure out in real time
how to get around,
how to get there. And then also, we were not playing around. Like, we were not talking about anything other than directions. Like, every 5 seconds, it would be like, I'm getting on here? Yes. Am I really getting on here? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. Like, we were, like, checking in about every direction every 5 seconds. And then the camera people would be like, how are you feeling right now? And I'd be like, are you sure? Yes. Are you sure? Like we were not listening to the camera.
Yes, motherfucker. You ain't getting nothing from us.
But you knew, right? You knew you were like good.
We knew we were way ahead.
That's really. I remember through all of just talking about the directions, there was one moment where I go, "Oh my God, Jack," and you go,
I know.
and
That was it.
we start again. Like, that's when it hit us. Like, no, for real.
This is happening. As long as we don't like majorly fuck up.
Yeah. And have to give it up for our crew as well. Like, we had Ali and Shazi maybe, and she showed us, she like put a D20 on her phone as her wallpaper.
Aww.
She was like, we're gonna do it today. Like, they were so positive, they were so awesome.
It was a girl camera,
that last leg,
a camera girl.
She felt awesome.
Audio, yeah.
Audio girl. They didn't have any on our season. That's cool.
Oh really? Yeah, we had quite a few. Yeah.
Good females, yeah.
Statistically, I don't know if you guys have gotten into statistics. You guys are, out of the 37 winners, you are statistically the 8th best average placements.
Oh, okay, 10.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I mean,
wow.
I mean, and 2 of those have asterisks because of the COVID seasons, which you know, when you get a 15-minute lead every leg, that's a big deal. Like, even like there's real no.
I will say though,
bunch points.
I'm just gonna be honest. We've done escape rooms with Ricky and Cesar. I don't care what anyone says about them. They are probably the best racers in the whole.
I think the same 2 teams would have won. They just wouldn't have won as many legs. Like, they wouldn't have like continuously like dominated like that. But I think those two like them and Kim and Penn definitely would have both won their seasons regardless. But
yeah.
And
then bowling too. We just went bowling before the semifinals, and I'm telling you, Cesar, strike. I was like, how are you built like this? Like, to do things perfectly at every instance, like, so crazy.
Yeah.
But we are so like honored to be like that is so crazy to me that we're like
you guys won 5 legs. 5 legs is a that's pretty big. I mean, there's only what 3 winners. Only 3 winners have more legs than you that won. But go ahead.
Wow. I think what's cool is like remembering also that like we so did not do the race perfectly, and so I think for anyone who does the race again, or just knowing like you really don't have to be perfect, you just have to be good, and like, and I think that was something that we went into, and that's why we had a lot of fun, was like we weren't expecting perfection from ourselves, but we were expecting us to be good, and we were.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's when Han and Holden started doing better, was when she position of perfection. Yeah.
So true.
Yes, that is so true.
Let's see. Jonathan and Anna finished 3rd in 5 of the last 6 legs. You guys ended with a 3-win streak, which is pretty cool. Han and Holden had their 2 best finishes on their last legs. The second was the highest they ever finished. They finished second 3 times total. Let's see, you had 2.4 placement. Yeah, you guys did a great job and should be very proud. And not only that you were like really good racers, but you, again, I know I've told you this in person, but you guys are a great representation of what Amazing Race winners should be. Like you shine as like put you guys on a pedestal. Like whereas I can shit on a lot of winners of the Amazing Race because some of them don't deserve it, and some of them are just terrible representation of what the Amazing Race isn't. You guys are everything that every team should strive to be. Completely supportive. When one was down, the other one always brought him back up. When you guys were in the shit and knowing that you were last, you never ever displayed any sort of Justin mentality of like, fuck, we're in last place, like crybaby type shit, or anger like a lot of people do when they're in last place, like, you know. So I love that, and I know in the future you'll continue to support racers like Ricky and Caesar have been doing, and I love that about them. So thank you for being incredible representations for what Amazing Race winners should be.
Oh my god, I'm gonna cry again.
Yeah.
Like it's like
Hearing that from you guys, I mean, especially it's amazing. It really is, and
Yeah.
I'm like, this experience has just been the best. Like, I don't think I've ever been like so proud of myself or my best friend, and I think that's like the greatest gift. Is like all the things you're saying, I actually believe them, and I don't think I would say that before the race. You know, if people had complimented me like that, I've been like, but no. But you know what? With love, I say thank you.
Hey, if anything, I'm always honest. Like that's why not all of the racers like me, because I'm very honest about it. Like I could tell Bernie and Kerrigan don't like me. Obviously, they heard something I said about them, but that's fine. I still love each and every member of the Amazing Race family, and I always try to be honest, and that's what my audience expects from me, to be honest but fair. And when I love a team, I love them because they love the race, and you could tell you guys love this experience. You loved every minute of this race, whether you went first or last. You loved it, you appreciated it, and super supportive partners. So watching back a season, people on future seasons should watch you too and try to emulate you and emulate that. Like,
Wow.
yeah, they should watch
100%.
my season to learn some stuff, but they shouldn't emulate me and Diana, obviously. Like me and Diana, that's our we're fire. Like that's just who we are. We're like that. We both have neurodivergent brains that are not compatible, but when we lock in, there's nobody who could beat us. Like that's who we are. But when we're fighting with each other, it's tough. You guys, fucking love you. Is there anything that you feel like didn't get represented well for you guys on the race? How do you guys something you wish they would have shown, or do you guys feel like you were completely edited the way you should be? Because obviously Jonathan doesn't like his edit, but how do you guys feel about yours?
You know what? The only thing that, and I've talked about this, and I genuinely, I'm like completely, I didn't need this to be a part of the race, and I completely understand why it wasn't edited in, but you know, the race is a relationship show. Like it's about like the way that two people, like the dynamic between two people, but something that was like really underneath my race was like my mom. I watched growing up. My mom like had watched Survivor and The Amazing Race, and then I had an Amazing Race birthday party when I was like 13.
No
Like,
way.
yeah, I should
Oh.
post the picture soon, but like my mom was a huge inspiration for me to do crazy stuff like this. And by the time we went on the race, she had passed away like 2 years ago.
Oh.
And it was like a really, really, like I was sort of like doing it to honor her as well. And I 100% understand why that wasn't, like, it was really about me and Jack. And that would have distracted away from it. But there were a couple moments that I felt like really spiritually sort of in line with why I was doing this emotionally, not just strategically. And I do wish there was maybe something a little bit in there about that. However, there's also something so beautiful about, Jack and I talk about all the time about like what is not shown is ours.
It's sacred to us.
Is
Yeah.
was almost sacred. And like me crying in the desert over my mom in this Jeep that was cut out, like that I will remember for the rest of my life. and probably because it's not filmed, like, or it's because it's not released, and like, yeah. So I've come to peace with that, but that is something that like I do think about still in relationship to our like the journey, and you knew her so well too. So
And I don't know if I've told you this at the party, but journal right now. Journal like everything you can remember, everything about the party. Journal it now because your memories are going to change, and you're gonna like. I have to go back to my notes to see how I felt on some of the legs. Like, oh yes, and then that sparks that feeling, and then I start to remember the real thing rather than remembering what I'm watching as I watch my sister.
Yeah.
So go and take those notes. It's very important. Like when I came back, I did a recap about our season. They wouldn't let us put it on YouTube because they weren't allowed back then. But we recapped every episode. And going back and watching those recaps now, it's like, holy shit. Oh my God, that's right. That's happened. I so much stuff I forgot. I know it's 10 years and I'm old, but it's 10 years later. But journal it, write it down, film an episode, even go and film an episode of yourselves, even if you don't post it anywhere, of just your memories, so you can have that thing to go back and look at. It's something that you're going to cherish for a long time. So thank you so much. All right, is there anything that you any of you want to promote? Anything, anywhere you want to send these people? Anywhere? YouTube,
Dweeb
Molly,
Wars.
Dweeb
If you
Wars.
want to hang out with us, we have a YouTube channel called Dweeb Wars. We talk about nerdy shit. It's a debate show where we debate
nerdy stuff.
That's probably the best place to find content of us both. Right?
Yeah. But then we also have our D&D stream, Please Don't Kill Us, which this Thursday we're sort of starting back up because we've been busy because of the race, but all sorts of nerdy stuff. Y'all will be around.
Yeah.
Go and support the Amazing Race family, Dweeb Wars, Please Don't Kill Us, whatever they get into. They are awesome people. They should be supported and continue to support them. Did you give Josiah the $500,000 he requested on Venmo?
Yes,
we did. Yeah, we did.
Him immediately.
So
it's only right.
Minus taxes, right? Minus taxes.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I didn't even tell you guys. I know you guys didn't get your check yet, or I don't know if they overnighted it. If you don't want to get taxed, put your money in a trust. None of it gets taxed when it's in a trust, and then it only gets taxed when you pull it out, and it's like, yeah, but I want to spend money on it. But what rich people do is they put that money in a trust, and then you borrow money against the trust. And the interest that your money earns inside the trust is more money than the interest you'll pay on the money you borrow. So it's literally getting free money. Do not cash the check. Put the money inside of an interest earning trust and then borrow against it, and you'll never have to touch that $500,000 ever. So that is my advice to you guys.
I'm gonna
hit up a financial advisor.
Kelsey and Joey spent $460,000 in taxes when they cashed their check.
But they're together.
Right.
They're together.
I was like,
$460,000.
Like us. I mean, because we're in New York City, we have the New York tax.
Yes, so you got the state tax, you got your federal tax, but if you put it inside, if you don't touch it, put it directly into a trust, it is there, and the only money gets taxed is when it comes out. The interest that earns gets taxed, but who gives a shit? But like, and if you really need some money, you could put it in there and then pull out $50,000, and you only get taxed on $50,000, which is not a higher tax bracket or whatever like that. So I mean, we could talk about that at another time, but I definitely want to get that out there. Like, it is super smart.
That's the best tip.
You know, we won 66,000. That doesn't put us in a different tax bracket. It's the same tax bracket, so it didn't really work for us. But if we won, the first thing we do into a trust and then just live off the money from the trust. Thank you, Arnold DeLeon. Absolutely great financial advisor. Dropping $20 in the chat. That will not go into a trust. That will go into my gas tank. But thank you very much.
Arnold DeLeon.
No.
No. He said Arnold DeLeon just said absolutely. He said absolutely get a financial advisor. But
yeah.
Just literally Google interest-bearing trust. Go nerdy on it, and as much as you could possibly do.
We will. We always do. We always go nerdy on it.
Just so you know, Elon Musk doesn't have billions of dollars at all. He's cash broke. All his money is in stocks, and then he borrows against it. He bought Twitter without spending a dollar. He just borrowed money against his stock and then bought Twitter and then sold the company back to himself, took an $11 billion loss just so he didn't have to pay taxes on the money. There's so many. Fucking be rich. Do shit rich people do. Do shit rich people do. I love y'all. Molly,
Love you guys.
anything you want to promote before we go?
Sure.
Oh,
So Emily and I are in a discovery journey about our adoption, and recently brought myself to finally sit down and watch the PBS documentary called "Adoption: South Korea's Adoption Reckoning." Um, our story is baked in there, not personally, but we have experienced some of what the people that are featured have experienced, and we're working through all the emotions with that. But I think it's a great documentary for trying to understand something that's kind of coming more to light. The Korean government finally recognizing um, the really bad things they did related to adoption. So if you guys are interested,
Yes.
definitely recommend watching it.
And for you, I don't
Yeah.
know if you know, we have an Amazing Race alumni Facebook group with just Amazing Race alumni and producers and stuff like that. I would definitely post in there that you're trying to do that. That sounds like something they would want to film, and you can, get a lot of help of
Oh,
people wanting to film
yeah.
your
There's
experience of this. So that sounds like something that you should
it's
do.
pretty. It's been pretty personal, but
Okay, maybe you don't want to film it. I'm sorry. I
it's a
mean,
good way to
I just always
publicly
think,
share what we've experienced.
I love.
Yeah,
What's
no,
it called?
What's it
it's
called?
it's PBS. I think you can get on YouTube. It's called South Korea's Adoption Reckoning.
You're such a.
So
I love our Amazing Race family, and for everybody in chat who's been following us following me all season, thank you so much. I love nerding out, talking about the Amazing Race, which is why I love you guys throwing those parties. I get to be around nothing but super fans. That's why I do this show, so I could be around nothing but super fans and nerd out. And I know I normally take a break between seasons, but I think I'm going to continue doing this on a weekly basis and just doing like a "Where Are You Now" kind of thing, interviewing old racers, past racers every week, just to kind of catch up and see what everybody's been doing. Rather than going on these in-depth stuff and maybe getting some inside scoop or some of their tips, and then right into season 38, which I know a lot of people have hesitancy about 38, but some of the cast members came to the parties and they are absolute gems of people, and they love the race. They don't just use the race like Jody did. Like they'll never talk about the race ever, even though it's the show they won, right? But Derek and Claire, they love the race, right? You could tell they love the race. These people who are at this party loved the race, loved their experience on the race, talk nothing but great about the race. I don't know any spoilers except there's a couple weak teams that needed to get weeded out early, and once they did, it became an incredible season full of really competitive teams. So don't shit on the race before you get it, because it's all big brothers. It's not a Jody season. It's going to be more of a Derek and Claire type of season where they're great people you can root for. Okay. So hopefully you guys continue to follow. Again, time is the most valuable thing that you have, and for you to spend any of it here with me talking about my favorite show means the world. So I appreciate each and every one of you. I love you.